Lesson 1 established the beauty map, the visual strategy for soft structure and upward rhythm. We now move from that architectural plan to the physical mechanics of the instruments required to build it. We are conducting a rigorous mechanical deconstruction of your cosmetic instruments, moving beyond the standard makeup application routine to understand the tools themselves. The foundational axiom of this system is simple. Products provide the raw material of color, while tools provide the control. Using the exact same cream blush with different tools yields contradictory results. The same pigment appears as a dense stamped circle, a lifted romantic gradient, or a sheer diffused wash, depending entirely on the chosen instrument. Every instrument manipulates specific variables on the face: precise placement, kinetic pressure, coverage density, and the softness of the edge. Achieving the soft Poetic Muse aesthetic requires building very thin, precise layers. This prevents the heady product buildup that leads to a carved or cakey appearance. An elevated look is the result of translating intention onto the skin. The hand, guided by the correct tool, determines the final polish. This matrix shows how bristle architecture dictates product behavior. Dense brushes pack bristles tightly for a concentrated payload and high coverage. Fluffy brushes increase air volume to scatter pigment into soft gradients. Tapered brushes are hybrids. The tip provides precision, while shorter bristles diffuse edges. Flat brushes press product onto the skin without blending, while the physical size of any brush determines its precision. Larger tools prioritize speed, while smaller tools offer control. Kinetic pressure also alters the outcome. Heavy force creates harsh boundaries, while a light touch preserves the structural softness required for this aesthetic. Maintaining a clean toolkit is a mandatory aesthetic requirement. Hygiene ensures the instrument continues to perform its engineered function correctly. Residual, dried product physically increases the density of the bristles. This causes shear formulas to streak and creates muddy, unharmonious color when new pigment mixes with old debris. An immaculate toolkit is the prerequisite for generating satin textures and luminous edges. Precision is only possible with a well-calibrated instrument. The objective of the complexion zone is to engineer an even, breathable canvas. We refine the skin while maintaining its natural dermal texture. This topographical map shows the foundation strategy. A dense brush establishes coverage at the center, where redness is common, before blending out into a realistic finish. Micro-concealer brushes provide localized precision. This allows for targeted correction of shadows or blemishes without the flattening effect of large, bright sweeps of pigment. Powder is used as a restrained veil. We apply it only to areas prone to unwanted reflection, protecting the overall satin finish of the cheeks. Complexion instruments calibrate light and shadow to support the natural face, rather than paving over it with an opaque mask. The cheek zone is the primary mechanical engine for creating upward visual lift. This map outlines bronzer zones along the hairline and high outer cheek. Oversized tools lack the perimeter control to keep the shadow high. Next, the blush brush initiates color high at the outer eye, blending backward to create a watercolor gradient that lifts the structure. Stamping perfectly circular patterns with dense tools creates a low, heavy geometry. This error negates the intended vertical lift of the soft Poetic Muse system. Micro brushes handle the remaining details, whispering a small amount of contour near the ear and polishing the high cheekbone with refined highlight. Disciplining these instruments to stay within their specific zones ensures the facial structure remains visually elevated and pristine. The goal for the eyes is horizontal elongation and an open, lifted frame. We avoid heavy, closed-off shapes. This eye topology map illustrates tool scale. A large blending brush's wide diffusion radius spreads dark pigments too far, creating a clouded look. Conversely, small blending instruments restrict dark pigments strictly to the outer third, generating depth without sacrificing lid cleanliness. Flat packing brushes press reflective particles directly onto the lid. This mechanical action maximizes light return, keeping the eyes looking bright and open. An angled microbrush projects an upward shadow line at the outer corner. This creates elongation and lift without the severe, artificial boundary of liquid liner. Structural polish comes from the smallest tools. A stiff spoolie breaks down harsh brow lines, redistributing product into an organic, airy fullness. A lash curler physically alters lash trajectory. Curling them vertically before applying mascara ensures the eye frame remains open. We use a lip brush to diffuse rigid liner borders. This maintains a plush, romantic aesthetic by softening the pigment inward toward the center. The most sophisticated elements of the final look, the clean corner, the lifted lash, and the soft brow, rely entirely on the smallest, precision-engineered tools. A professional toolkit operates on a strict functional hierarchy, prioritizing architectural essentials over maximalist hoarding. The essential tier is the foundation. These tools, the foundation brush, damp sponge, bronzer and blush brushes, and precise eye blenders, are required to build the core structure and lift of the face. The optional tier includes refiners like powder puffs and false lash tools. These are excellent for evening wear or photography, but they are not the primary builders of the facial map. The advanced tier is unnecessary for this aesthetic. Elevated makeup skill comes from precision, not from the accumulation of complex or specialized accessories. Use the mirror check protocol to audit your kit. Interrogate whether a tool successfully places, diffuses, or lifts according to the desired aesthetic map. The mechanical laws are consistent. Dense tools build, fluffy tools diffuse, large tools soften, and small tools refine. Sophistication in application is achieved through harmonious, precise control. A curated, intelligent toolkit allows you to dictate the final aesthetic with a light but intentional hand. Mastering the physics of these instruments is the only way to perfectly execute the beauty map. With the tools understood, we can now move to the analysis of product chemistry.